This is the Between Two Firms podcast, episode 8.
Wait a minute. Let's reframe this just 1 second.
These are good problems to have.
And what we can do with money to help our family over generations.
And working towards my entire career, I decided, you know what, I think I need to do my own thing.
And I'm like, awesome.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Nick Kobos, host of the Between Two Firms podcast, and I'm joined today by our showrunner supreme, self-anointed showrunner supreme / chief editing officer, Matt Nomchik.
Yeah, joined today, or joined as always, I guess.
I should say as
precedent.
always. As always would that would make more sense.
But yeah, I'm demoting myself from showrunner supreme and chief editing officer. I think they may just be too lofty of titles for the current audio video level, but I will return. I'll make a glorious return one day.
Like Napoleon.
Well, I'm not gonna make that comparison, but
No, I'll make it for you.
If you'd like to.
I'll make it for you. No, I'll make it for you. I'm looking for you. I think you have a lot of Napoleonic qualities. So, no, I'm good. I mean,
okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You too. Touche.
I definitely think that we have identified some improvements that we need to make, especially on the audio side. I don't know. I'm prioritizing the audio over the visual. We'll get there.
I am too.
We'll get
I'm
there
too.
eventually,
I'm monitor it throughout the course of the call, and I think learning, and it's a lag time to implementation, but I know where we're going.
Is that what you do during the interviews? I feel like so for the folks listening, we have set ourselves up to where I do the interview in one room. We have like a room in our office where I do the
That's a
interviews.
recent change.
It is a recent change. For
the video watchers / listeners,
They'll
may
be
have
able to
noticed
see,
a slight change in the background.
That's not, yeah, there's still two ridiculous plants.
barely
is...
noticeable change.
That's true. But yeah, we moved everything over. I'm in a separate room from Matt, which has some advantages, some disadvantages. But because I can't see Matt during the interview, and so I just have to assume. And trust that he's being diligent in his responsibilities as the showrunner, no longer showrunner supreme, just showrunner. But I won't lie, sometimes I wonder. I'm like, what is this guy doing over there? What is this guy doing?
Well, given the scheduling of the last few interviews, candidly, I begin them by eating lunch. But
is that what you're doing? Is that I'm over here busting my ass doing these interviews? You're just
But I'm only able to do that because we're in separate rooms, and I can still monitor the levels. And
one of these days,
I take copious notes.
Okay. One of these days, you're gonna mess up. I feel like if there's eventually gonna be a screw up where we're gonna be getting right into the juicy.
It's not gonna make it to the final cut. Nobody will know.
Right into the juicy part of an interview. We'll pose a question to the guest. It'll be nice and teed up. And you're just going to hear a belch coming from Matt, who just wolfed down a Jersey Mike's meatball sub or something.
That's not how a professional. That's not how an audio professional eats lunch.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, before we talk about the episode, I think we should do a little firm update.
Yes, calling it the firm update. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do a firm update. So yeah, we're gonna start calling. Did we talk about this last week? We're gonna start calling this little segment at the beginning the firm update, and just giving the up. I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Giving the update on what the hell's going on in the firm.
Yeah, there's a lot changing. There's a lot going on week to week. So
there is.
It's probably a good living record of that.
Yeah, I think in that sense, I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be cool to just kind of have documented. Someday we can, when this thing goes bankrupt, we can listen back on these and
where it all went wrong.
Yeah, figure out where the hell it went wrong. Yeah, where we went off the rails. But yeah, dude, well, before I hit it from my angle, what do you have going on this last week? That's been really
We
good
had
for
some fires to put out, some small fires to put out.
Mm.
That we, some on my end, some of us joint firefighting effort.
Yeah, the fire
Where-
for the listening audience, the fire that Matt's referring to is we had a client that so I think we've mentioned on a previous episode my disdain for QuickBooks Online Payroll and just my inability
this
to
should be clear. Should be clear to
yeah,
everybody
I
listening.
just I hate it. I hate QuickBooks Online Payroll. It shouldn't exist. It's so bad. It should not exist. And so anyway,
Well, it should be better. It should be. It makes sense
I
that it
mean-
exists. It should be far better.
it should be better. But in the absence of it, as it currently exists, it should not exist. And so in light of that, we've basically, I mean, a while ago told new clients as they come in that, look, if your payroll's on QuickBooks Online Payroll, we won't
We need
support
to
it.
move you.
Yeah,
over.
we gotta move you to Gusto.
We can't support that long term.
Right.
And really immediately, as soon as possible, we got to get you moved over to Gusto, our preferred payroll for the
At
moment.
least for the moment, yeah. Gusto.
For the time being.
Gusto did us dirty, dude. I don't really want to trash talk Gusto because so far we've had a great experience with Gusto. But we had this client and we moved them to Gusto. They had like 12 employees. And
Yeah.
So Matt gets them all moved over and helps them run the first payroll. We ran payroll Wednesday. That was for a Friday payday. So Wednesday afternoon, payroll gets run. Okay, we're all good. First payroll is a success. High fives all around. It's like when the lunar lander like lands. There's a mass celebration. Everybody's like, we did it. High fives, hugs, tears, and so we go home thinking that we're done. Check off another project off the list, and.
Yep.
Come in Thursday morning, and there's a notification from Gusto saying payroll is blocked.
Yep, the one in progress.
Yeah, the one that we had run yesterday or the day before and had, the green light on.
That all of those employees are expecting
Yeah,
to hit their
the
accounts
bank
on
account and,
Friday.
Yeah, and then there's like a little notice that says, "Hey, payroll's blocked," and oh, by the way, if you don't submit these documents by like 4 hours from now, nobody's getting paid tomorrow. And so.
Yeah, so we're kind of held hostage and not
Yeah,
a great
it put us-
communication
Yeah.
hierarchy that we spent most of the day trying to get through. But
It
we
put us in a
eventually
tight
got it
spot.
resolved. It just
It just took the whole day.
it spooked us. It spooked us a little bit.
It did spook me a little bit, and I won't lie. It spooked me. The fact that this happened without a warning or us not knowing. But then the bigger thing was like when we called in, man, it was no offense because they were all friendly, but they only allowed us to talk to NPCs. I mean, these folks were just reading off a script, and it was
Right. It could have been an automated
yeah.
agent for
All
what it was
friendly,
worth.
all very friendly, but just no agency or ability to see what was going on. We couldn't get a hold of anybody that could give us any insight, and just had to trust that it would be resolved. And anyway, it was stressful. I'm okay. I'm okay, and often do come off as an idiot when and I'm okay with that when it's, my fault, but I have an aversion to coming off like an idiot because of other folks' mistakes. So anyway.
Yeah. Especially when you're bringing business to these people.
Yeah, I know. It just sent me. So anyway,
Anyways, the other
That's
point.
griping. Enough
yeah.
griping.
The
Wait.
other point we could touch on briefly is that we completed our interview round and we decided to move forward with a candidate, and we're excited to have her. Do you want to talk more about that, Nick?
Yeah. That yeah. So going from the griping to the positive note, I mean, this is super exciting for us. I am stoked. We've got a new team member starting next month. It's gonna be helping us out with our bookkeeping work, and boy does she have boy is she in for it. She has no idea what she's walking into. We have a pile of projects, and cleanups that are ready to go that we plan to get her cooking on. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think she's gonna.
Yeah, she seems like a pro.
Yeah,
So
we're
hopefully
very
we can get her
excited to
spun
have
up
her.
on our stuff pretty quick.
I think we will. Her name. Matt didn't want me to reveal her identity yet, but
It's your prerogative.
her name is Jovi. We're very excited to have her, and I'm very excited to make just like a weekly Bon Jovi reference.
Yeah, I'm gonna cue the music right here.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, anytime we mention Jovi, our
Living
rock
on a
star
prayer.
Jovi, we should play some Bon Jovi clip. I don't know if
Yeah.
we're allowed to do that, but
No, we're allowed to do it. Yeah, we're not even close to being monetized. So it's just
just screw it. No,
It's
I think
fine for
that's
now.
funny. No, but we're very excited to have her, and I think it's going to be a game changer for us. I mean, it is what? It's a 25% increase in our workforce and capacity. It's more than a 25% increase to our capacity because she's going to be primarily.
right. It's probably like 30 to 40% increase.
So we're very excited about it. There's going to be a learning curve there. So now the trickle down effects are we need to figure out kind of.
We got some stuff to figure out. But we got about a month. So
Yeah,
we'll
we got
see
some
if
time.
we can do it with alongside our other ongoing work.
The other balls that we're juggling. Yeah. No, but I am excited about it. But okay, enough on Jovi. Cue one more guitar strum. But yeah, as far as our episode today, I had a lot of fun chatting with Josh. Josh was a great guest. Thanks again, Josh, for taking the time to come on. In this episode, I mean, I don't know. I think we have different perspectives on them just by nature of like you get to listen to it versus
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm the first listener, really.
well, what did you think about it? What did you think about this episode?
I thought it was a good episode. I think that just his background sort of influence. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he's approaching it as more of like a visionary head of an organization that he foresees scaling very large. Like he said that numerous times. Like that's the vision, and so his leadership and the way that he's involved in the firm is all about that angle.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm not going to reveal too much of like the specifics, but yeah, he's just got like this overarching vision, and then like, I guess a indefatigable conviction
Ooh.
in
Good Scrabble word right there, dude.
in implementing it.
Yeah, way to slip that in there. That was good. But no, I'm with
Right.
you. I'm with you.
Don't have to get too excited.
I like that. But yeah, I thought he was a great guest, and on your point, I think this interview was a little bit less like a little bit less granular, tactical, and a little bit more
Not
mindset,
as
big
technical.
picture.
Not as technical.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very high level rather than like low level,
but it was fun.
systems level. Yeah, I think it was good.
See,
And
now
I think honestly, in the long term, we want like a good mix of
I think so,
kind
too.
of both those things, because different people at various stages of their
That's true.
business journey are probably looking for different things. You know, so
That is totally true. Yeah, and for folks listening, well, that's a great opportunity before we jump into the show to do a quick plug. Is if you have more of something, if you want to hear more of something, or you want a certain type of guest, or you want a certain
Yeah.
type of interview question or topic, let us know.
get
Please.
in touch with us.
Yeah, please let us know. We are open. We're still very much in the figuring this out stage, and are open to any and all suggestions and requests. So, all right, I think we're good.
Without further ado,
Okay.
let's let you guys get into it.
Hello today. Our guest for episode 8 is Josh Schneider from Multiply Advisors, coming to us from San Clemente, California. Josh, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, thanks for tuning in to WTAX with your host, Nick. Dude, you're putting my lack of radio voice on blast. We had
6 cigars a day, Nick. You'll get there in a month.
yeah. See, I get all my for anybody listening, I get my daily dose of carcinogens from Cherry Coke Zero. Right now, I'm rocking a Pepsi Cherry Zero, just because I think
I
these.
feel honored that you switched it up today.
Just a little bit of mix up, but keep the taste buds tantalized. But
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
no, I'm really excited for this. I like we were talking about before we started. Looking at your little intake form, for lack of a better word. There's definitely some cool stuff there that I want to dig into. So I'm looking forward to it.
Have your way.
Well, before we get into the nitty gritty on your practice or your firm, why don't we start with just telling me, how did you get into accounting and then starting a practice in the first place? Like, how did we get to where we're at
How
today?
did we get here?
Yeah.
In my third year of college, my second sophomore year, and you had to pick something. I had a good friend at the time say, "Hey, Josh, if you pick accounting, they'll try to hire you in the fall of your senior year. You might even get like a few $1,000 signing bonus." And I thought those seemed like two really good reasons. I like people, I like numbers. And, so I picked accounting. It should have been a clue in 101, took me 3 attempts, but, so that's how I started, came out of school, worked at a traditional CPA firm, upstate New York, insanely conservative, meaning it felt like every review was an audit, every comp was an audit, and every audit was a full-on interrogation. And I struggled immensely because for my brain, I was like, we're walking in here, we already know the answer, and I'm spending the next 2 months of my life to just confirm the answer. And there was a single day when a girl I was working with, it was like 9:00 at night, we're at a client, she's like, I get a tingly feeling when the numbers match. And I was like, I get pissed when the numbers match, because it means I just so, I had this like just jarring negative experience that I left inside. I mean, honestly, 23 minutes into my first day, I remember looking at the bottom right of my clock on my computer, my professional job. And I remember thinking, like, how did I get here? I'm 23 minutes into the dream
to day one
of day one. And, it kind of launched an entrepreneurial journey for me kind of haphazardly. It wasn't this like screw the man endeavor. It was just, I read 100 books during that time at the CPA firm because I hated my work that much. And I fell in love with the idea that work can be meaningful. And, I didn't know any better, became an entrepreneur, struggled for the first 7 years. I lived in my in-laws' basement for the first 4, worked as a server for the first 5, and finally had a breakthrough year. Was sitting on $350,000 in profit, called my accountant, said, what are we going to do? And they go, you can load up a bunch of money in retirement. I was like, okay, cool. What else? And they said, honestly, that's kind of like, that's it.
That's what we do.
Meanwhile, my books are 7 months behind. And that experience for me was so emotionally searing, like a cattle getting branded. I was like, I have crawled through the Sahara Desert to reach this place, and this is what's waiting for me on the other end. I'm like, this can't be this, fair, right? Whatever. Anyways, that experience, my business in that next year went from 1 to 35 employees in 12 months, just exploded.
What was the industry?
Federal grant management, oddly enough.
Okay.
I had this experience, and then I really encountered growth in a way where if I had that partner, from a tax, from an accounting, from then to pick up the phone and say, hey, we see you're crushing. Let us take on invoicing. Let us take on this. Do you want to have quarterly planning? What do we need? I had this beautiful experience of this negative, my life is unfolding in, the ways that an entrepreneur dreams of, sleeping on the floor in your office, working through the night, anyways, all of that to say that led me to the place where I wake up one day. I know that business had a season to it. It was never like the thing I knew I was going to do forever. And I was like, I think it's time to kind of I love entrepreneurship. I hate to say I love the struggle of it, but like I get it. Like this is like it's like you don't choose it. Like you don't choose to be a Buffalo Bills fan. It was emotionally bestowed upon you. Like entrepreneurship, no one logically. I mean, all the last couple of years, Detroit Lions have been good, but like no one logically chooses to be a Detroit Lions fan. Like
Right.
it's a call, it's a calling, it's some part of you. And so,
That's funny.
tax and accounting to me felt like the just most logical step into how do I lock arms with other entrepreneurs and try to bring value to them. So hopefully that 7-minute intro was
No, no, I love that.
not too
I love
long.
that. No, and so you decided you were going to shut down the grant business and transition into accounting, and just
Sure.
based off the experience you had,
Yep.
the kind of underwhelming, reactive.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. When you decided to move into accounting, you told me you indicate you did
Yeah.
this. You went on this interview spree.
Yeah.
Sorry, interview. Tell me about that. Like what was that? How did you do it? And what did you get from it?
Years earlier, I had, someone who'd started like a title business or something. He'd always have this story of like, oh, we interviewed like a bunch of like realtors and asked them what they wanted from their title agency. And so we just did that. And I obviously had a lot of ideas around what I wanted from my accountant. And I'll just say this too, like for all the accountants, it's like, there's so many good ones now, especially when you're in certain communities. Like I'm like, dear Lord, like if the realized community had a sales function, like it would just like, pick any one of these people. But when you're growing your business, like you're not like, no, I'm not ringing 3 firms and taking time for interviews because I'm trying to keep my family and my business together, So anyways, coming out of it, I had some very clear ideas of what I wanted. Obviously, a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs and we shared in those similar struggles. But the thought process was like, let's just get a sense of like, what do they actually want? Right. Just because I think I know what I want. And so we interviewed, 100 business owners, basically asked them what they wanted, which sounds amazing. The results were boring AF. Uh, like you could probably ask freaking, I don't know what the worst large language model is right now, Gemini. You could ask Gemini, like, what are people unhappy with about their accountant, right? And that's the results of the
That's
100
basically- yeah.
interviews. Like, I want responsiveness. I want proactive. I feel like I'm not getting, what I need when I have a problem. I can't get a hold of them. Like all these kind of basic things. But if anything, it created a sense of conviction. And what was most shocking was that 88% of these people basically said like, I'm not like happy where I'm at,
Yeah.
which I thought
That's
was
wild.
amazing for me. I was like, oh, all these people are going to come over. But that was one of the starkest lessons that I learned in starting this, was just because someone's unhappy, and maybe you're a cuter face, like there's this weird, people probably know it more than me, but like I thought it'd be a lot. I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. I didn't think it'd be easy, but I sure thought it would go more seamlessly than it did.
Well, tell me about that. Like what you did the interviews and then you start, right?
Correct.
What aspect of the start was harder than you'd anticipated, or where was that friction that you weren't anticipating?
I'm to say that I'm notorious when we don't know each other is like the most self-serving. I'm very notorious for like the idea of like, I wake up in the morning and it's like, I got half a cup of coffee and I got like 2 bullets in the chamber. I'm like, hop on the horse and let's just ride. Like, let's ride for sunset. Let's take the hill today. Coming out of having built a team of 35, as we peaked, close to 5 million in revenue. I was like, I said, maybe I need to learn to put some of my ADHD tendencies behind as a leader. Maybe I need to learn to like build a plan and have a structure. And like, of course you have structures inside of the chaos, but So I brought somebody in who'd had a big exit, and we went through business planning, and so part of what I'm saying is I thought I needed to become a different person to start to build a company differently. And that was wrong. I think like we're all a unique individual to
Yeah.
ourselves, but like, that was a mistake that I made that cost me time. Uh, and I genuinely thought picking up clients would be easier, given how unhappy
Right.
a lot of people are. But there's emotional ties. There's
Yeah. There's a stickiness. There's a stickiness. to
there's a
account.
weird
Yeah.
stickiness, right?
Yeah.
Like, anyone who's in this knows.
Right.
I didn't. Because I was like, if someone has a pulse that could help me more than the current person, like I'm in, like
It feels like that
that's what I
sometimes.
was looking for. Like, I
Right.
don't want a traditional firm, and I want like, someone I feel like gets me. So those were some of the biggest challenges, obviously, outside of like, once we started to get off the ground a little bit. And the other thing that kind of made it a little bit challenging for me is I knew I didn't want to start from scratch, meaning, I've just walked through this 5-year journey of going from, a couple $100,000 in revenue up into the millions. And, I can't say that I looked at accounting, obviously now PE is very popular coming in, or people, maybe like, obviously I had an accounting background, but like my journey took me away from it, are coming in and starting firms or buying firms. It was less of like a tactical, like this is the best right move for me. And it was more of like a heart posture of like, I want to help make a difference. As silly as that. What's your business plan? I don't know, like be better. Um, so I think like as I was coming into this, I just was very I forgot the point of what I was going to try to make, but I like it meant a lot to me that what I was trying to do mattered. Oh yeah, yeah. So I brought like 5 people over. So like my payroll from
I
day
gotcha.
one,
Okay.
my payroll from day one was like, 25 grand.
Mm.
So, but I knew, I guess I had this belief that like, if we do things right, eventually we're going to get up to speed, and I'm going to need to surround myself with good people to build a firm in the right way. So, the first 16 months almost like, there was no profit to be had. And so,
Right.
obviously a very different approach but it's like, I've always had my eye on, kind of the next hill, the next corner, in some ways, because I've been there. I've navigated a little bit of that growth journey of service-based business. So
Sure. Well, so that's interesting. So you brought 5 folks over,
correct.
and what was the org chart when you started then? So like
So stupid.
who are
We
these
had
5
we
people
had a
and what are they doing?
CEO, we had a COO, we had a director of people, we had a manager, and we had a bookkeeper. You know what I mean? Like, just uh but it's like, yeah, so that's kind of what the org chart pretty much looked like. So it's I could say it's so stupid, but at the same time, I've been asking questions longer than if I had waited till the problem arose to ask
Mm.
the question, right? Anyone
Yeah.
who's gone from 10 clients to 20 clients, 20 clients to 50 clients, right? Or journeys beyond that, right? Like, those transitions happen. We also know that momentum kicks in, and it's not when we deposited the coin to try to unlock momentum for our business. Momentum starts flowing when it's going to start flowing,
Yeah.
when it feels that
Right.
it's reached some tipping point, which no alarm bells go off. All of a sudden you're in it.
You're in it. Yeah.
And, so I part of it was I just had to have a belief in the vision that I saw, a belief in the conviction that I had, a belief in myself, a belief in, my wife to, support this financial,
But
psychotic idea that I have.
Sure.
But it's like, once momentum hits, and if you're by yourself, like, now we're reaching these break points, and entrepreneurship's difficult enough as is. being in direct client services is difficult enough as it is, so I kind of was like, well, maybe I can overcome some of these bumps, these blockades.
Yeah. So okay, so you get started,
Yep.
and I'm guessing day one, it's like we need to go we need to go sell.
Six family and friends, whatever
Yeah.
came over. But I honestly did not have a focus on selling out the gate. I was very focused on process and system, which
Building the systems first.
is
Yeah.
that stupid? Probably. In my 15 plus years as an entrepreneur, I've never really, I don't want to say gotten good at sales, but like I've never been a pure hunter.
Right.
A lot of times it's like, especially that big grant work that I got was just like being better, being good, consistent, over delivering, opportunities and doors open. So that's even part of our ethos with Multiply. We have like an incubator program where we work with businesses under 200K. Part of it is because it's like, I know they need foundation. They can't necessarily afford a proper fee to work with a proper partner. But I'm like, I know if I can serve someone well at one level, and hopefully keep the business going profitably, at these lower financial price points, like potentially like, it's part of my ethos. And, someone could sketch it on paper. It's the stupidest approach to have, but it's like, I've known if I'm given the opportunity, I'm going to be able to convert. And again, that comes back to part of my experience. I'm sitting in the midst of a $350,000 revenue month. My client calls me, "Hey man, how's it going?" And it pissed me off. It pissed me off because I'm like, could you just look in QuickBooks and call me up and be like, "Bro, it has been a journey. Like, congrats. I've got 6 ideas for how I can help you." Like, he could have charged me $125 an hour to put together invoicing and build me an extra 2,500 a month, and I could have cared less, right? Because like, I didn't want anyone on the team knowing how much money we were making.
Sure.
Right. So like, I wanted that. I'm like, but like it's 2 a.m. and like, I should be sleeping, right? Like I shouldn't be invoicing. So I think it's like, I also have this conviction, like in this space, it is less of a sales thing. And once someone starts to grow, like they need someone to lean on. Like, yeah, they're making it happen, but now they're in a new atmosphere. Now they're dealing with new problems. And likely we've seen some of these problems unfold before, or, like, so anyways, I can.
No, and that makes sense. And what you said about I get like the reactiveness of like the traditional, like accounting firm.
Yeah.
Or most accounting firms. 88% using like, I like that. I like that number because it is just wild to me. It is just wild to me, like the state of like discontent.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, right. But what I think happens a lot, and I know we struggle with it, and maybe you do as well, I don't know, but is we get so wrapped up on the compliance work, the work that has to happen, the shit that we can't, it has to happen.
Yeah.
That we fill our capacity with that,
Yes.
and then we lack the bandwidth to be proactive with the client.
So why do we fill our capacity with it? We fill our capacity with it, I believe, because it's comfortable. I've supported state government for a lot of years, and obviously government employees get a bad rap. DMV employees get a bad rap. What I realized is that there are personalities in life that are attracted to certain types of roles. I, as a like risk endeavoring human being, the allure of a government job where I know I will never lose my job, but I am stuck to 3.5% raises, right? Like I am this personality is never going to be attracted to that. However, the personality of somebody who brings with them other characteristics and other traits. And so I do think when we look at like the accounting sector as a whole, we do these, there's 15 of us on the team. We do these monthly meetings. I'm like, let's come up with crazy ideas. Like, let's punch through walls. you know, and like half of them are looking at me like, what? I'm like, come on, like
Yeah.
we've got this moment, right? But they're like, I needed 48 hours to prepare for this question you just asked me, you know? So when we back to your point of like the compliance and we get stuck in it, it's it's dutiful, it's appropriate, it's required, it's necessary. But I think the human emotion that overrides it is that it's a sense of comfort. I'm not outside the bounds. And so, you know, I'm not out in the open. What if I don't know the answer? You know, it's like go serve at the Cheesecake Factory like I did. And when people ask you questions about that freaking menu, you get really comfortable being like, that's a great question. I'm going to follow up with you. Like, I forgot the 14th ingredient in the luau salad, you know, like
I love that.
you want to talk about one of the 76 cheesecakes? Cause I got those on lock, you know, like, so I think some part of it is just it's human nature to want to do work that's comfortable and consistent and repetitive.
Yeah.
It's also scary to talk about things that we don't know fully well.
Right.
But I don't know if you if you have a follow up on this, you can. I don't know. Did you see the post at some point last year? And this kind of shook me a little bit, where it said like something to the extent of like, who decided that small business needs to like make decisions based on like 30-day cycles?
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I wanted to go there. Yeah.
Like, go ahead. Yeah. So
Well, and you brought that up. So in our little pre-show sheet, tell me about that. So because I'm with you, I get that frustration of,
yes.
but a lot of the time, by the time, like right, why do we have to wait 30 days? Why can't we have real time report? But how do you operationalize that? Like walk me through kind of how I'm coming to you as a client.
Yeah. I don't have a good answer as of today. I have some thoughts that I'll share. Operationalizing them but I think it's more of a, again, I'm here as a like service provider to entrepreneurs, and I understand whether they have money or don't have money, they still face challenges and struggles. And the service that I'm providing as of today is tax and accounting. I do some more like executive coaching, but not much across the board. We also do some process consulting because it's like, we know you more than anyone else. Let's get a process map. Let's help get quarterly targets, et cetera. So we do a little bit of that as well. But, when I saw that post, and it was just like, who determined that every 30 days was when a small business where, predominantly we run our businesses by our gut, feel, instinct. Yes, we take information into account.
Some of us.
So
yeah, some of us. Yeah.
I say this as my own Multiply books are, 7. I still make myself do the books for Multiply, so that way I feel the pain, but then they just perpetually get behind. And I'm like, all right, so like it was a good idea, Josh, for you to still feel the pain, but now we're like we're all really feeling the pain. But then I'm like, well, then I know that emotion of like shame and doubt and guilt, and I'm like, I'll get to it next Sunday. Like, no, you're not going to get to it next Sunday, bro. Who decided that every 30 days we needed to look at our P&L to make a decision when, we're kind of the, like I said, I'd throw 2 bullets in the chamber if I got them. Hopefully I got half a cup of coffee left, and like, I'm like, let's go take some territory today. And I know not everyone is that way, but it brought to the surface for me, and here's where I practically thought about it. Forget profitability, forget, obviously there's the compliance side of when we're talking bookkeeping. It is necessary. It is appropriate that we do a bank reconciliation, that we ensure, credit card reconciliation, whatever, that we tie the balance sheet to something. These are appropriate, dutiful things. Our client does not care.
Yeah.
Generally. And when I think of my client base, I have about 5% where these big P&Ls are crucial to them.
Mhm.
I have 95% of our current client base kind of in the sub 2 million, sub 3 million territory. Like
I don't even think they read them. Yeah, like half. That's
yeah,
how I
they know
feel.
what
Yeah,
they're
right.
doing. I
Right.
don't say they know what they're like. They're they're riding for sunset with me, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
they might be a mile ahead already, but like, um, so again, forget profitability, forget. Here I am getting paid to do something for you, and I'm spending a significant amount of energy on something that brings zero value to you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not appropriate and right,
Right.
and
No,
it is
right.
our job to ensure.
Right.
So I started to lean into this a little bit, and if you think about like, relationship with your spouse, partner, whatever, it's like, oh, you don't care about me. And you're like, no, I did this and 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 I bought you this and I went here and I sacrificed my time here.
Yeah, but it's
And
not my
they're
love
like,
language.
that means not, they're like, cool, but like, I don't feel it.
Right.
And I kind of started to think through it through that lens. And so again, I don't know what the exact answer is. But I think I don't want to say like it's an idea and just be this esoteric like example around it, but it's like, okay, so I've started to think like, okay, do we take some of our best people and put them on the front lines of coding transactions and now getting an extra what if they could take 90 minutes a client every month to focus on some KPI or just
Yeah.
taking a pulse backwards and what I'm all the time I'm like what did your body tell you? I'm asking that question all the time because partially I don't know what the numbers tell me, right? Like but I know when I look at a P&L my body's telling me something. So and then I'm thinking like okay, do I now take half the bookkeeping team? We call our bookkeepers accounting analysts. Partially I hate the word bookkeeper. It feels like it's like you're a bookkeeper. And my sense is if I've spent even 3.5 hours in a client's books, like I've got curiosities, I've got senses, I've got a something about something.
Yeah.
And so like every person that comes into our team, even at the, I say the lowest level of
Mhm.
bookkeeping, like the expectation is no, you're an accounting analyst. Like
Yeah.
you're a human being that's made it to this point in life. Like you're brilliant. You're a 10 out of 10. Yeah, like you have overcome all the odds to make it to this point in life. My expectation is when you're committed for a few hours, 5 hours, 10 hours on a client, like you have something to provide
Some insight.
this
Yeah.
correct.
Right. Right.
So I'm also trying to like, I'm also trying to figure out how do I capture these moments,
Yeah.
and those moments can't always come in these compressed boxes, right? So where I'm going, like I'm trying to figure out um how do internally we create an environment where the right things are the right things. And I'll say this, like I preach this all the time. Um I say I think, and I'm guessing. I say I think the things that are most important to our clients, tax strategy and tax aside,
Mhm.
when they have a question, we get back to them in a reasonable time. They don't give up about the fact that month end compliance is happening. Like when they have a question, it is in this moment the most important thing to them that they reached out to ask. So let's make a good attempt to get back to them, within
Right.
24 to 48 hours.
I think that's so true.
Secondly is we're calling it's been through a lot of iterations. We're calling it air, the idea of oxygen. And what I'm trying to unfold is now manually, I know we could do it. I just don't know if I can manually at scale make it happen within 3 days of the start of the month. Because most of our team, we code transactions weekly, right?
Yep.
Not every single client every single week, but like generally we're staying on
Right. It's a
top of
weekly
it.
cadence. I gotcha.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, February 1st, like let's get started.
Yeah. Right.
So generally speaking, all of our clients by the end of the month are ready to go. If we've sent out uncats, and it's not gotten back, okay. Like a client generally knows, if they get the P&L and there's 20,000 in uncat, like whatever, it's not influencing their decision making. So the idea of AIR is it's called Action Intelligence Report. Within 2 to 3 days of the start of the month, what can I get you that is not a 100%, you know, this isn't a 100% P&L,
Right.
everything, but like, again,
But it's what we have. Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Right.
I
It's
just crossed the
actionable.
Rio Grande and I'm down to one bullet. I'm out of coffee. Like, you know, send help, like
Right.
I'm under fire right now.
Right.
Like, send me a little care
Give me something.
package. I don't need everything. The sales, you know, it could be revenue, could be expenses, could be profit, could be 3 basic KPIs with a relative to last month. It could be a 2-sentence thing. It might even be, and here's one thing I've been toying with, like, what could you do to decrease expenses by 5% this month? Now, I'm not saying that that's the mission defining answer for someone's business. So I would love to, I already know the thoughts in my head. This is where I'm trying to like step into more. Cause again, I'm entrepreneur first. Like, you know, if somehow tax and accounting goes away, like I'm still like, how do we serve entrepreneurs on the front line?
Mhm.
Um,
No, I think that's. I think the the idea of giving something like sending the damn P&L out
yeah,
with things in Uncat, ask my
yeah,
accountant, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because that's something like we currently, you know, we wait until we've got a
Get
final
back.
like review ready P&L, and that's when we send it out. But the reality
Do
is
you wait for statements too? Like if they don't get you statements, do you wait?
Yep. So when we send out the reports, they are reconciled, reviewed, and it's final answer.
Do we
Right.
we send on the 15th regardless? Because what happens is that entrepreneur wakes up 3 months later, they don't give a whatever
Exactly.
that they didn't send you a statement, and they're like,
Right.
"What are you doing for
Where am
me?
I at? Right.
Where am I at?" And you're
Right.
like, "Bro, I sent you 17 emails. Like I don't
Yeah,
know what you want
and
from me."
and you're right. We're holding it up over you know $3,000. Like the guy knows what it was. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
It's just it's in
right.
his brain. So I think there's wisdom to that. And I like, you know, I like you delineated like this isn't your
This
reviewed P&L. This is
and
your
again, this is we're
your
for my
SITREP,
client base,
like
I'm talking 90, you know, I've got 5 specific clients in my mind where like this isn't this no, when they've got 9 cafes strewn across half the state, like this isn't going to work, right? Like that we need detail.
we
We
need a
need
little more
the
structure.
managers
Yeah,
need
sure.
their things, you know, like
It's a pulse. It's a pulse. It's something because that's something that I'm with you. Is like how do we? And it's something I've thought about too. Is like how do we deliver a cadence or a more real time? And here's the other thing is, and I don't know if you got a solution for this or there's something that you've thought about is like the actual delivery of the reports themselves, right? Because half these folks are not. They'll look at it, and like they get the email like or they get the receipt of the reports and they're like, okay, I guess we're up to date, but they don't read them or they don't really know right. And so how do you walk me through like right now, like today, right? If we're an accounting client, like how does it work? How does it work with working with you guys? Like what are because that's my thing. Like I'm with you on the thought process, but tactically, like for your team,
yeah.
the blocking and tackling of how it actually happens. Like walk me through kind of your process.
In terms of month end close, I'm not even the best one to ask, but
That's fair. That's
but
fair.
like, you know, the AAs, the accounting analysts will prepare, finalize, review. Some of our clients we manage in Keeper, some we use QBO, some we use Kick. We've been
Mhm.
loving Kick a lot lately. Shout out to the boys, the team at Kick. And so, you know, but sometimes we have to download the PDF, then it gets put in a SharePoint folder. Then we operate with a client advisor model, meaning we are very centralized communication. So only one phone number, one email address. Most clients have my phone number, but like it's pretty much like a hey, like if there's an emergency or you're pissed off about your service, like hit me up. But like go just
the day-to-day.
go
Yeah.
go because it's actually like, you know, yesterday I had face-to-face, I had meetings with human beings, right? And 6 hours of human being meetings. And it's like, if you sent me something, like you're going to be a full day behind.
Yeah. Right.
So
It's not-
anyways,
yeah, it's not scalable to expect me to.
yeah. So so we have a CA team. There's 3 of them, 2.5 of them, depending on how we, so like, then they got to go to the SharePoint folder and they got to download the PDF and they got to get the email and then they got to send the email. And it's just like,
Yeah, it's the making the sausage. Yeah.
so, I mean, very typical, obviously Keeper, you can send right through Keeper. I don't, and it's like, I've multiple times in Q4 of last year, I woke up and almost sent out a message to all of our monthly clients being like, by the way, your bill is going up $40 a month and we're no longer sending P&Ls, and you will have a live dashboard through Reach reporting. We use Reach reporting. Like I woke up many times being like, I'm just going to send it. And if it pisses somebody off, like, I don't even care. Like, if I lose somebody from it, I don't even care. Cause it's like, there just has to be a better way. And like, we've toyed around with, like, we run financials through a couple AI models to get like a 2-minute rap or a 2-minute jingle that talks you through it, like, so I've got all these like fun ideas, but at the end of the day, it's like, even the time required to deliver the P&L, it just feels wasted.
Yeah.
Back to the like, hey, I did this for you, I did this for you, I did this for you. And obviously we have to run a business here.
Right, but to your point earlier, like, that's not what they value. At least like our experience is that similar to you is one of my frustrations that, and it's really it's not a client problem, it's a problem we have.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a way to clearly articulate it to the client in a way that resonates with them. But clients, like you said earlier, clients want tax. Like they want to tell me how you can save me money on taxes, right? And that's like the go-to question that the client has. That's what they care about. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, like, you haven't answered 3 months worth of, like, we don't have clean P&Ls, right?
Yeah.
And like, if you had real-time reporting, that would be so much more valuable to your business than because that's growth. Like, you can only save so much money. You can only save so much money, and not to discount the value of tax planning and right.
No.
But you can grow infinitely. It's like,
when I talk about accountants slipping into comfort, that's an entrepreneur grasping with all of their unknowns and challenges. And so they look in their ecosystem, what's something I can control? I want to save money on taxes because I saw this Instagram video, which is totally legit, totally valid. But like, I say this all the time to our clients, mission drift kills more businesses than the economy ever will. And unfortunately, we somehow represent the IRS and like their tax liability. And like, we are the vehicle to their money. So when they're stressed in their ecosystem, we unfairly get it. We get the like, well, how come you haven't, or where is this, or why haven't I? And, but it's like, it is hard. Like, how many of your clients say like, it's not like the numbers, like, I don't want to like, and it's like, I hear you. I'm big on words. So like, even yesterday, I'm literally in a sales meeting and they kind of do that. And I said, like, honestly, like, if we're going to work together, like I get that. I'm like, I appreciate that. I said, I'm never going to run my own click funnel. Like, that's just not something I desire, but I'm like, but I've stopped saying like, like, I don't get this stuff. Like, it's overwhelming. Yeah, it does feel overwhelming to me per se, but like, I got to change my language around it. Especially when it's your numbers, right? There's like, anyways, I'll stay focused here.
No, and I want to go to your shared inbox thing. So, but I'm with you on the,
there's got to be a better way to serve people who need something. And I'll like, I've thought as much because it's context and relativity matter, meaning a P&L sometimes feels very context less. every entrepreneur knows how much cash they have in the bank. Like they know how much cash they have in the bank. They know they know what's coming in. They're all
Right.
keenly aware, very aware of what's coming in. And obviously, like, you know, for obviously, you know, as things grow, the going out can get harder
Sure.
to
To
track.
manage,
But like,
right.
you know, we're sub 2 million. Like, again, you especially if
Yeah,
you've been
they have a
building
gut
that thing
feeling,
for the
right?
last
Right. They
10 years,
understand, right? Right. They
like
check the
it's
yeah,
freaking in here, you know?
their P&L is that they check the bank account every morning.
Yeah,
That's
like
their P&L, right?
so we're trying to be like, you got to look at this thing and we got to take you into advisory. And I think that's healthy. I've wondered, like, what if I just gave them 3 numbers, you know, call it a KPI. And literally it could be a 4, it could be a 2, and it could be a 6. And then next to that is a little like, you know, it's in green with like a plus, you
Yeah.
know,
Trending
or a
up,
red.
trending down. Right?
And what do those numbers mean is irrelevant to the fact that we've picked something
Yeah,
that we
some
think
benchmark.
has meaning,
Right.
and we're giving them, like, I know this sounds crazy what I'm about to say, but like, could 3 I don't want to say mean made up KPIs, but like probably not like gross margin or, you know, not these
Sure,
like
sure.
generic KPIs, but like we make up 3 numbers and then we just let them know plus or minus on like maybe the last month or the last 90 days. Like that's
Yeah.
probably like I feel like you got my back. Now, obviously, over time, we build relationship around what these numbers mean, but like now I've created curiosity, and once I create curiosity, I now have connection to take them deeper.
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe we should understand how to look at our P&L, how to assess our costs, but that's where then like now I'm not afraid as your service provider to say, hey, why don't we, you know, pay me $1,000 and let me tear through this and see if I can come up with $10,000 in savings. Let me, you know, so, but like I've had this, you know, the construct of how we operate oftentimes prevents us from delivering the thing. And where I, you know, like I said, I wake up and I was almost like, F this, like we're like, everyone's on reach. Like, I don't care if you're a $60,000, like you're on reach. Like, I don't like, you got a live dashboard. Congratulations. You're not getting the P&L anymore. Look here, you know, like,
Yeah, but it's right. I like your point about I think it's easier to show them versus to sell them. Like I
yeah,
think it's easier if you just proactively, like you said, pick 3 numbers. Pick 3
yeah,
numbers and
yeah,
just send them out.
yeah,
And like you said, with your little simple display, right? Green,
yep,
red, amber, and
yep,
in a way that's just intuitive.
yes,
And I think you send that out, and you're right. Like intuitively, I feel that just knowing our clients, there would be positive reception to that. But I also know that I get on these, calls with folks. I'm like, hey man, like you probably need insert advisory, or we need to review this together, or whatever. And they're like, I don't know. And so I like your theme or I like your point of deliver the value up front, which is just basic sales and just deliver value up front, and it's easy because we already have the full context. It's just doing it. Um,
correct.
I like that. I'm gonna
And then
steal
I've
that.
thought like, okay, do I just assign, you know, for us, I'm like, do I assign one bookkeeper and they're like, their duty becomes month end close across all the clients. So when statements come in, they do the statements, they manage the uncats, they like, you know, and now I'm giving my best AAs who are really leaning into that idea of being an analyst, who want to grow, who want to push into the
Be an
next
advisor. Yeah,
level.
yeah.
Like, I've got the perfect role for you now. You're on the front lines of this. Like, you know, and obviously as technology helps with coding, right? Like, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, I got good people spending 20 hours a week coding transactions. Ugh. But like, it is also part of, you know,
Yeah, so
what's
so
necessary. It's
making
part
the
of what's
sausage.
necessary. But like, yeah, it's, I think about it a lot. We are absolutely pushing into this idea of air, you know, because it's the idea of oxygen. How
Hmm.
do we get you this actionable intelligence report as quickly as possible? You know, and I'm maverick enough that I don't if someone's like, hey, again, our construction company with 5 divisions, no, I'm not giving them, air and bouncing. But at the same time, could he or she at the helm of this larger thing also just use, right, when we go to the conference, I don't know about you, I stopped taking notes at most conferences and I just keep one note and I'm like, you can write down 5 things this week. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I already got 100 good ideas I'm not
Yeah,
implementing.
right. Yeah. No,
I don't
exactly.
need a fresh bevy of like everything that I don't know. Like,
Right. No, for sure. For sure.
so, and that's where
Well-
mission drift is, is so costly. I've never thought this before. Like, are we as accountants sometimes the representation of the distraction to someone? They think that way. And I've had this other theory, and I'm gonna stop. If if you're standing and talking to a client, and their consultant, their growth consultant that they just hired to run this new campaign calls them, they're gonna say, "Hold on, step away." If their attorney calls them, they're gonna say, "Hold on," they're gonna step away. I think if their accountant calls them, it's going to be one of these.
Yeah, right.
I'll call him
Right.
back. Keep going. Sorry.
Can you call me later? Question mark. Yeah.
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 Because we know this, we've placed ourselves in this historical bookkeeping, bookkeeping is the wrong word. We've placed ourselves there. And I've been building a thesis. Are our accountants actually best positioned to be one of the most useful consultants? Now, the word advisory consulting means so many different things. Coaching, these things mean so many different things, but like, I don't have to get up to speed to know you.
Right.
We already know you. We're not going to take the first 5 minutes of our call to hear how the business is going because
We know.
we know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's like going to the
I just
doctor.
talked to
Like,
Jonas and he let me know how things are going. And so I think when we lean in to that and we can somehow detach from what we think they want, I'm going to stop talking because I could
no, I have one thing. Well, in the interest of time, I really want to hit on. You said your team, most of your team is virtual, or is all your team virtual?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, and so you mentioned that your team is mostly in the Philippines.
We have, significant portions in the
Significant
Philippines.
portion.
Yep.
Tell me about how do you structure that? Why did you go that route? And then how, like mechanically, how do you structure that?
In 2007, 2008, I read 4-Hour Work Week.
Yeah.
And changed my philosophy, and I think a lot of ways probably why I ended up being an entrepreneur. Again, it wasn't screw the man mentality. My internship in college, I had way too many things going on, and Srinivas from India for 50 cents an hour, in 2008 was like my guy. Like, he helped me out and he helped me dig out of my internship. And so, like over the years, obviously, as I worked for different companies or different things, like, there wasn't when I worked CPA-firm, I couldn't like have a
Sure.
I can have a team member on the back end. But I think for sure, the economics behind it are always intriguing. But there is as human beings, we like working with people who especially when we're the leader, the boss, whatever language you want to use, the owner. It gets weird sometimes when you're like, man, I feel like I'm giving here and I don't feel like I'm getting back an equal amount of return.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found over the years, so there was seasons where in other ventures in the past where India was more the focus. And then I found the Philippines and I kind of fell in love with their spirit. They're service oriented. There's a service culture there. And for sure there's always bad apples.
That's true anyway.
But there's a genuine gratefulness for getting to work for somebody who cares about them. And that to me is I don't care where in the world you are. I heard someone once say, like, who determined who's smart based upon what their passport says, you know? And then in particular, when we look at a role like bookkeeping, right? When we look at a role like bookkeeping, it's repetitive, it's monotonous, it can get kind of boring. So when you have someone who kind of says, like, give me a checklist, pay me, appreciate me, make me feel important to you, but
Mhm.
like stay out of my way. You know, like when we can build every relationship I have, employee, contract, or whatever, like I think about it through the lens of like an alliance. They're here for something, and
Mhm.
I'm wanting slash needing something from them. So we should always be able to have an open-ended conversation. You know, I had a guy come to me recently, wants 25% raise, and I said, cool, like I'd love to give you 25% raise. I'm I'm gonna need a couple of these things from you, but I also want you to look across our client list, and I want to know, like, how can you add more value? Because it's like if I just give 25% more, the company's gonna be like, and I'm down for it, but
Mhm.
like, where are we gonna get that from? And
Right.
let's enter into that collaborative relationship together where we're gonna figure out,
Yeah,
you know,
instead of
it's
being
not just
adversarial.
me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so all of that to say, like, again, the economics behind working with people offshore, but it has tons of downsides because of, you know, the hours. Like, am I going to make them work 9 to 5 ET? Destroy their life. Gosh, you know, so we offer a lot of flexibilities. I mean, I've been doing this for years, so I've got my own people person, I've got my own IT, I've got, you know, our own purchasing, we've got credit cards on the ground, like, you know, like it's wait, you put credit cards on the ground? You know, like we've got a structure over there. Hiring has changed drastically over there over the last, you know, 12 to 18 months. Like, dude, it used to be fish in a barrel, and
Do you
it
hire direct or do
we
you
do,
go
yeah.
through you
We're
do?
I'm big fans of direct from the compensation side of things. Actually, one of our clients is called Spoke. They're a BPO over there, but their revenue share or the sharing model that they have with their staff is incredible. Like, I love working with them because of like we don't staff through them because we've just built the
You did it
infrastructure.
right.
But like, you know, it's like when you hear someone like, "Oh, I got a VA in the Philippines. I'm only paying 1,500 a month," and then my guy is like, you know, sends me a Slack says he's only making 250 an hour. You know, and you're
Yeah,
like,
right. It feels
you know,
almost
it's
like
like when the
exploitation.
gap, the
Yeah.
arbitrage is so big, and I
Yeah.
get it, right? It's a business. Uh, it does take a lot of energy to find somebody over there and screen them, right? Like you put a senior role out there with some decent money behind it, like you are getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications, you know? And it's like it doesn't matter if they're a barista at Starbucks or like, you know, they just finished dance school. Like they see this amount of money and they're like, I'm gonna apply. So it's I'm sure I've lost any useful bit of advice around it, but like I'm the biggest fan of it. I think that there's a couple of great staffing, you know, agencies that can help. Um, I personally am a big fan of direct, but like that's because that's the path I've chosen. But it's a clustery path to get, you know, to the other side of it for sure.
Sure. No, and I'd love to dive deeper on that, but in the interest of time, I wanna move on to tell me where's Multiply Advisors going? Like,
Yeah.
what's the vision for the next year or 2 years? Eh,
When I started this, I built the structure to say, how do I get to 1,000 monthly clients, which is
mm.
psychotic, right? Let's just say like that's, but like I had to hold that placeholder in my mind because I said once I get to 1,000, then hopefully I can get to 10,000. So I'm from you know, I'm from Jupiter, like or whatever, right? Like I'm here for the pain. Um, and it's not so I can like buy a boat and chill. It's because like if I could influence 10,000 entrepreneurs, and let's say that across those 10,000 businesses, they have 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 employees. Like if we could create an environment where they feel something from their service provider that influences how they operate their business, and we could influence then 500,000 families, 1 million families in this, you know, I say this country, but like, you know, in this whatever in this globe, like that's where my, you know, I'm like again, I'm in Jupiter or whatever. Like,
Ideas guy. Yeah.
I live in that star that like the telescopes, like it exists. Like that's where my mind's always at. So which makes waking up today very difficult, because it's like I feel the conviction and weight of what I see, but the reality of today. So, when you say where we're going in the next year, like it's the first, so we're coming up on June 1st will be 2 years,
Okay.
in my opinion. We had some clients beforehand, but like when I closed up the last business, June 1st
When
was
it
like
when it was full time.
was my starting day. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And it's been tough. Like October of 25 was our first profitable month. And so there's a lot of backward months. Like I've got a wife and 3 kids, number 4 on the way.
Congrats.
Hallelujah. Woo, what are we doing? So like I've got financial obligations as well, but like when you build a belief to something, you need to become the metronome to the vision or the conviction that you have. Circumstance should never sway us from making a different decision from what we know and believe. Faith is a word that's oftentimes tied to, God, but like faith, the definition is belief in the unseen, belief in the unknown. Again, I love entrepreneurs. So like the entrepreneurs get faith, whether they have a belief in God or not. When you have faith in a picture, a vision, a conviction, a dream, a desire, whatever, it does not matter. It's qualified. You have to learn to become the metronome. You have to learn to not sacrifice your body, your family, right? There's seasons.
Mhm.
Seasons happen in seasons of massive growth. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do, but you have to, like, this is what I know. Like, Nick, I had seasons where I made more money than I ever thought I would as things are exploding and growing, but like, then you learn like, holy cow, this, I'm not where I want to be. I've not looked my kids in the white of their eyes in 3 weeks. I've been around them, but I've not like,
Yeah.
I didn't look in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So where's Multiply going? Like that's the path that we're on. Like our psychotic goal is to get to 1,000 monthly clients. And it's the journey to get there. I will finally, like, I've reached a place now where like my belief in the outcome is now like certain. But I've been entrepreneur for 15 years. When I can say like, be the metronome and don't be swayed by conviction. Don't be swayed by the fact that, it's a 22nd, your mortgage payment's due in 8 days and you don't have it yet. Like that can't sway you today. You have a mission, you have a focus, you have things that your clients need, your company needs, or sales that need to go be gotten.
Yeah.
And I never say that I'm overwhelmed, although I oftentimes feel that way, but it's like, I asked for this. I wanted this.
Yeah.
This is what I desire. I once stood on a mountaintop with everything that and I looked to the next mountaintop, call it building Multiply. And I said, like, I want that. You cannot forget when you were standing where you wanted to be previously, looking somewhere else, seeing what you wanted, having desire, conviction, whatever, for that thing. The problem between 2 mountaintops is there's a valley. And we don't like the valley because it gets dark. We get lost. We lose the vision of the mountaintop. But I say, I never forget that I stood where I was standing and I chose this. And if I chose this, then I it's my responsibility and duty to grow through it. And I will finish with this. You're like, you needed to finish 5 minutes ago, but,
No, you're firing me up. I've got a call.
This podcast has turned into sticks.
I've got a call with Gusto support after this, and I'm just getting fired up for it.
Oh yeah, dude. So this one's gonna get you. This one's gonna get you ready for that. I had a friend who trained very high level D1 athletes and professional athletes. What I'm talking about is pressure and challenge and difficulty in operating business. He said, Josh, when I'm, as a physical trainer, when we're doing a workout with these high level athletes, he said, you have no idea the amount of workout that we have to go through to reach the place where their muscles or their body are finally broken down enough to now have earned the privilege to get faster or get stronger. And I think as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as owners, as founders, pressure comes. It will come. But when we put it into the context of like, if pressure comes and mounts, I heard Jim Rohn once say, like, never try to get through the day, see what you can get from the day. I'm always asking, like, do I feel like I'm trying to duck my way out of this versus like up on the wall, I got the buffaloes. When the storm comes, they turn about face and they walk through it. But when my friend said that to me about how intense the workout has to be, we're so engineered as human beings for safety, which is beautiful. But when pressure begins to mount, it's the equivalent of the workout getting more intense and more intense. If I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years, I've learned to take some shots. If I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, I've learned how to take some blows. If I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, I've been knocked out multiple times. But if I'm in something right now that feels like it's a lot, that feels like it's too much, that pressure is mounting too much, is it actually the greatest opportunity for me to evolve and learn and grow to the next level? Right? Like, you wouldn't do that 75-minute deep workout to get your muscles to the point where this next rep is going to make the difference on the field next season. We wouldn't eject in that, but in our life, we reach these points of just immense stress and pressure, and we look for the eject button. And when we do that, we miss out on the beauty that you want to write a self-help book, just go be an entrepreneur, right? Like you have walked yourself into this, but it's oxygen. It's beautiful. It's terrifyingly beautiful. And so, that's a lot of stuff that I care about. That's how I try to support. Obviously it's, we got to make money here. I also have this thesis. I tell clients this. I said, it's my job to make Multiply wildly profitable. I said, because when we're wildly profitable, like, we're pushing the limits on technology and implementation to make your life better. I said, if I'm just getting by,
you don't have the bandwidth
we don't have the bandwidth to get better for you. Like,
right.
You want us getting better for you. Right. You want me testing what you don't have to test. So, Nick, you're pulling this stuff out of me. Some of this stuff I've not said in a long time. So
you're fired me up. You're fired me up. Like I said, I'm gonna be on the phone with Gusto and just be like wired, dialed in. No, I love it. I really do. And I appreciate you sharing it, because it's I think the mindset stuff, a lot of that, especially on in the accounting specific type content, gets overlooked. Some of the broader, entrepreneurial and business content.
Yeah, we got EOS. Like, every account wants an EOS program. Well, why? Because it's structure. Structure and strategies are diligence, but it cannot be our dependence. Our dependence has to come from source, from God, from belief, from being the metronome. Like, that's our dependence. Structure and strategies are diligence. We must be diligent. We must operate with excellence. We must do the mother effing bank reconciliations. But us as the leader, we need to learn, where does our dependence come from? How do we build? How do we fuel? How do we get to run with a never ending zest?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to just mute myself here. I'm going to press the button because you're like, bro, like, I had a call 97 minutes ago. I can't even get you to stop talking. Like, where did you come? Listen, I was an only child till I was 14. My parents said, you're enough, until apparently I wasn't. And so You know,
Yeah.
every human being the rest of my life is paying the price for what my parents decided that, like, they said as an only child I was enough until apparently I wasn't. So here we are, and you're dealing with the ramifications of.
The downstream. No, it's all good. No, like I said, it fires me up. It really does, and it's not an angle that we typically get when we're talking accounting, but that doesn't mean it's not critical.
It's the.
Yeah,
I think it's the real. You know.
yeah, no, for sure. But so I want to transition us to what we're calling our final five. So it's the 5 questions we're asking every guest that comes on the show. So we'll just kind of rifle through them, and I know you got some behind you, but question number 1 is, what is your favorite business book? I know you got some bangers on the wall behind you for
Oh
the.
yeah.
Oh.
5 days to your best work yet. I mean, I gotta give a plug for that author, Josh Schneider.
Well, link in the show notes. I'll add it to the list, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would say within the last many years, probably Unreasonable Hospitality has been
Yeah,
the one that I'm like all about.
that's good. That's another one, man. I feel like the last few that we've done, it's been books that I've heard of a million times, and I just haven't gotten to them yet.
It's so enjoyable to. It is like it's delightful to read.
It's going on my list because I heard somebody else reference it on a podcast I was listening to the other day, and if a book comes up more than once, it's like there's something to that. So I'm working my way through Radical Candor right now,
Nice.
and then that'll be. It's going on the list. It's going on the list.
Okay, let's go.
That's my promise to you. Okay. What about what is one system or tool that you couldn't run your firm without?
I want like personally, I feel like my mind map tool. I use Xmind because like I can't think linearly too much, but it's a great question. I'll tell you what, and this is gonna. We use ProConnect. I fell in love with the Pro Advisor tool. The like for running estimates and just getting like was so easy. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean Slack. Slack would be I love Slack, but like does Slack destroy us all? I don't know. Xmind would be, you know, we use ClickUp as our PM tool mostly because I know someone's going to win the arms race in AI in the practice management space, and I wasn't willing to bet on who that was going to be until it was clear. So, yeah, I don't have a great answer. Slack, Xmind.
A couple good. So
I don't
that
have
excellent thing intrigues me.
I don't have a sexy answer, but like I need mind maps to like see my world and my thinking, and I also use a lot of iPad notes, but that's because my brain needs. So, anyways, these are quick answers. I feel judged that I don't have a good sexy tool.
Oh, that's all good. No, you gave a couple of good ones. No judgment at all. Matt, my teammate doing the editing and running the show. Our showrunner supreme is his self-proclaimed title. He's a mind map guy, so we'll take a look at that. What about conferences or events that you're planning on going to in the next year? Do you have anything that you're planning on being at?
I love it. It's the funnest, most best, amazingest time ever. But like it is time and money away from growing a business. That being said, I do hit the big one mostly because it's just a great party. You know, like you get to meet everybody, see everybody. Doing some stuff with Michael Lee has an event with Reconciled, so hitting that up. I really wanted to get to some PASBA events. I just haven't yet. You know, Hector Garcia puts on an incredible event that I learned so much from. The timing's so tough because it's the fall, and I coach both my kids' teams for soccer, so it's like I don't have a great. I think this year I'm actually probably focusing a little bit more on like let's go to a retreat with entrepreneurs in Wyoming and just sit and smoke cigars for 4 days and talk with. So I think I'm going a little
Versus
bit
the
more that way this year versus,
the heavy
but it's like,
itinerary.
it's great. Like I love
Yeah.
seeing, relationships and friends. So, again, it's supposed to be a quick answer, shout out to Intuit, also too, I get in my car and I drive over to Vegas and it's just
It's not bad.
it's just
not
a
bad.
great, it's like a great time. Like I don't like, I'm not going to Intuit because like, it's just a great freaking time. Like, so anyways,
Oh hell yeah. What about hobbies? What do you do for fun? Rip some cigars.
yeah, cigars for sure. Like I love, as Steve Harvey says, he goes, I don't eat cake. I don't party. I got one woman. He's like, but I got this. And he's like, cigars or yoga. And you have these moments where you sit and you center. And I'm also big on novelty, like cigars, wine, coffee, right? Like the earth that it came from, the hands that prepared it, the final presentation of it. Like this means something. So I love things like that. I coach my kids. Dude, I moved to Southern California, and part of it is like this. So this 2020 was it, whatever. I don't know what year we were in, but last summer I went to the beach like 25 times. And that was like huge for me.
That's cool.
So, just figuring out how to take. I love building. I'm a builder. So like the fact that like I was telling you, I moved my office out in December. I moved my desk outside so I could literally have cigars while working. So like the fact that like I'm getting to build and do something and simultaneously do one of my greatest joys and passions in life, which is, cigars. Um, I feel very fulfilled on a
We
daily
gotta
basis.
we gotta check if our lease prohibits us from ripping some
I
cigars in the
would
office.
really like to I would love to be Liam Nielsen. Like I would love to be able to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Like I would like when I think of a hobby though, I'm like, I would love to learn just to like how to clear a room, how to like, how do you, so anyways,
That's fair.
it's supposed to be a quick answer, but
I was in the army before doing this, and when my army buddies ask me about what I do now, I send them the cover of the Ben Affleck movie, The Accountant. It's like Ben Affleck like strapped. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm an accountant, dude. But anyway, yeah. What about, where can people go to connect with you or find out more about you?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, multiplyadvisors.com. Instagram is, I think, what is, yeah, I mean, we can link it up, but like the _ Josh Schneider. Like I don't talk a ton about tax and accounting, but just, things I've learned. Again, I've been in these trenches for over 15 years as an entrepreneur. But I certainly don't know everything. But I think deeply. I've written 3 books on employee engagement and culture, and I love a good conversation. Like it's always fun when 2 people come together, with the intention of like just learning and growing. Like some of the stuff I said today, I'm like, dang, I haven't said that ever, or it's just when
So
there's
fun to do this.
intentionality in a conversation, it pulls something out, and I think like that's like life is here for us to see what we can do, and I think if we don't lose that, like it's a pretty sweet ride that we get to go on here. So
Oh hell yeah! Well, sweet, Josh. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and sharing your story with us. It was absolute pleasure, and looking forward to keeping in touch and watching the progression as we get to 1,000 monthly recurring comments.
Let's go.
Hopefully, we'll try and keep up.
Yeah, hopefully some of this still exists, right?
Oh, I love it. Well, hell yeah, man! Seriously, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Have me.
we'll be keeping in touch with.
All right. So that's our show with Josh Schneider. Josh, thanks again for taking the time to come on the show. I had a blast chatting with Josh. Matt, any kind of closing thoughts or final thoughts on the episode?
I thought it was a good episode. I think having somebody that's kind of looking at the business from like a founder, startup, entrepreneur mindset was really interesting. You know, we've talked to everybody that we talked to so far has also been interesting to me, from like a traditional accounting background and just scaling out an accounting firm. But this is more of
Good
like
save.
we're building an entrepreneurial business here.
Yeah.
And that speaks to like the name, I guess. He's trying to multiply things.
Oh, it's a good little, good little extrapolation right there.
It's more of a high level vision overview of the idea of where the firm's at, where the firm's going, rather than kind of low level. And you challenge my use of low level, but like in a computer system, low level would be hardware systems kind of look at the nitty gritty of the firm. And so I thought that was an interesting kind of juxtaposition from previous episodes. What about you?
No, I totally agree. I think it was more mindset, philosophy, kind of vision driven, which was good, man.
Yeah,
It's exciting. He's a passionate guy, had a lot of cool ideas. I definitely scribbled down some nuggets, and every time I scribbled down a little note based on something Josh said, I could hear your voice in my head saying, "Don't bang the desk. Don't bang the desk."
We're working. Oh, at least that's there. At least that's.
It didn't stop me from writing it down. But anyway, I had a great time chatting with Josh, and I'm looking forward to watching his firm continue to grow. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you guys are enjoying listening to the shows, please do us a favor and take a moment to share this episode. Hit the little share button. Send this to somebody else who might get some value from it. And
follow us on your preferred listening platform.
Yeah, there you go.
And we for anybody that hasn't been able to find us on YouTube, we do have a video version on YouTube as well.
Ooh. I'd rather people just listen. They don't need to look at me, man.
They have the option. They have the option.
The option. We need to. No, anyway. We appreciate you taking the time to listen and are looking forward to giving you a little bit more. I was gonna say chatting with, but that I don't know if that's.
No, I mean anybody that wants to come on and chat with Nick.
There you go. That's
fill
a
out
good
the
pivot.
application.
That's a good pivot. Good save.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Sweet.